Ladies and gentlemen, as we stand at the edge of a new year, I want to ask you something. Are you ready to make 2025 the year that changes everything? A new year is not just another date on the calendar. It's a new chapter, a clean slate, a fresh opportunity to create the life you've always wanted. You see, life doesn't change by chance. It changes when you decide to live by a better philosophy, a set of principles that guide your actions every single day. I've always said, life doesn't respond to your feelings or emotions. It responds to your mindset, your discipline, and your commitment. Think about your life right now. How many times have we carried the same habits, the same fears, and the same excuses into a new year? And how often do we find ourselves in the same place as before? But what if 2025 could be different? What if this year you chose to break that cycle? Today, I'm going to share 10 practical, powerful rules that can help you take control of your life. Not just ideas, but tools you can start using right now. Are you ready to make 2025 your best year yet? Let's get started. Take full responsibility for your life. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a simple question. Who is in charge of your life? Is it your boss? The government? Your upbringing? Or maybe the circumstances around you? The truth is, the person responsible for your life is you. And that's where transformation begins, with full responsibility. Now, I understand it's easy to blame other things. You might think the economy is tough, or I didn't have the same opportunities as others, or even, it's not my fault I wasn't dealt a fair hand in life. Believe me, I've heard it all before. But here's the reality: as long as you point fingers and blame others, you give away your power. If someone else is responsible for your situation, then they hold the power to change it, not you. And that's not a place you want to be. Taking full responsibility means accepting that, yes, life can be unfair. Sometimes things happen that are beyond your control. But what you do next, how you respond, that's entirely up to you. When you take responsibility, you're no longer waiting for someone else to fix things. You're taking control. You're saying, this is my life, and I'm going to make it better. I remember meeting a man years ago who was struggling financially. He had a long list of reasons why he couldn't get ahead. His boss didn't like him. His industry was tough, and he wasn't born into wealth. He had all the excuses lined up. So I asked him, what are you doing about it? He looked at me confused and said, what do you mean? I replied, what steps are you taking to improve your skills, to create opportunities for yourself? That question changed his life, because he realized he had been waiting for someone else to solve his problems. Taking responsibility is empowering. It shifts you from being a victim to being the creator of your own story. It's not always comfortable. It requires honesty and a willingness to admit where you've fallen short. But it's necessary, because when you take ownership, you also take ownership of your potential. You stop wasting energy on blame and start using it to find solutions. So here's the challenge starting today: stop making excuses. Refuse to blame your circumstances or bad luck. Instead, ask yourself, what can I do? What's within my control? That's where change begins with you. Set clear goals and write them down. Do you know what you truly want in life? Not what others expect from you, not what seems practical, but what you deeply desire. Most people don't. They drift through life with vague wishes like, I want to be successful, or I want to be happy. But here's the thing: vague goals lead to vague results. If you don't know where you're going, how will you know when you've arrived? You see, goals are like a map. They give your life direction. They keep you focused and on track, even when the road gets bumpy. But here's where most people go wrong: they don't write their goals down. Let me tell you, writing your goals is not just a small step, it's a transformative act. When you write a goal, it stops being a random thought in your head. It becomes something tangible, something real. It's like planting a seed in the soil of your mind. And once it's planted, your mind starts working on it. You start noticing opportunities, solutions, and ideas that you might have overlooked before. I'll share a story with you. A young man came to one of my seminars years ago. He was full of ambition, but he lacked direction. I asked him, do you have your goals written down? He said, no, I just keep them in my head. I handed him a piece of paper and told him, write down 5 goals you want to achieve in the next year. He hesitated at first, unsure of what to write. But after a moment, he began. A year later, he returned to me with tears in his eyes. He had achieved 4 out of the 5 goals he wrote down. Why? Because writing them forced him to focus and take action. That's the power of clear goals. But let's take this one step further. Writing goals down is just the beginning. You need a plan to achieve them. Break your goals into smaller steps. For example, if your goal is to save $10,000 in a year, figure out how much you need to save each month, each week. Then take action. Ask yourself every day, what can I do today to move closer to my goal? Small, consistent steps create big results over time. Now, here's another key: review your goals regularly. Don't write them down and forget about them. Keep them visible on your desk, on your phone, even taped to your bathroom mirror. Read them every day. Visualize them. Remind yourself why they matter. This keeps your focus sharp and your motivation alive. And don't be afraid to dream big. Set goals that excite you, goals that push you, goals that maybe even scare you a little. Why? Because the purpose of a goal isn't just to achieve it. It's to grow into the kind of person who can achieve it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I challenge you to take time today to define your goals. Write them down. Make a plan. Commit to taking action. With clarity, focus, and persistence, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. Let's make this the year you turn your goals into reality and develop discipline as your greatest ally. Let me ask you something. How many of you have set a goal or started something new only to give up when the excitement faded or things got tough? Don't worry, you're not alone. We've all been there. But here's the truth: it's not motivation that will carry you to your dreams. Motivation gets you started, but discipline, my friends, is what keeps you going. Discipline is what turns dreams into reality. It's the ability to stick to your commitments, even when the feelings that got you started have faded. You see, life doesn't always make things easy. There will be days when you don't feel like working out, don't feel like studying, don't feel like putting in the effort. But that's where discipline steps in. It's not about what you feel like doing, it's about doing what you're committed to doing. Let me share a story. Years ago, I met a young athlete with big dreams of making it to the Olympics. Every morning at 5 a.m., he was out there training no matter the weather. I asked him one day, how do you manage to stay so consistent? Don't you ever get tired of it? He smiled and said, of course I get tired, but I'm not relying on motivation. I rely on discipline that stuck with me because it's the secret most people overlook. Motivation is temporary, but discipline is what builds lasting success. Now, I want you to understand this: discipline isn't about being harsh on yourself. It's not a punishment, it's a gift. It's about creating freedom, the freedom to live the life you want, instead of being trapped by bad habits, distractions, or fleeting emotions. How many of us have let feelings like I'm too tired or I don't feel like it dictate our actions? Those feelings are temporary, but the rewards of discipline last a lifetime. Here's the good news: discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you build step by step, one decision at a time. You don't have to change everything in one day. Start small. Pick one habit you want to improve and commit to it daily. It could be something as simple as waking up 15 minutes earlier, exercising for 10 minutes, or spending 5 minutes planning your day. These small acts, done consistently, create momentum. And that momentum builds the foundation for bigger changes. Let's be honest, you're going to slip up sometimes. That's part of being human. But here's the key: don't let one mistake turn into a pattern. Forgive yourself, learn from it, and get back on track. Remember, discipline isn't about being perfect, it's about showing up day after day and doing your best. Progress, not perfection, is what leads to success. So I encourage you to make discipline your greatest ally. Decide today that you're going to stick to the promises you make to yourself. Because every time you follow through, you're not just building discipline, you're building confidence in your ability to achieve your goals. Discipline is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. And with it, there's nothing you can't accomplish. Surround yourself with the right people. Let me ask you something. Have you ever stopped to think about the people you spend the most time with? Your friends, your colleagues, your family, because here's the truth, the people you surround yourself with have a bigger impact on your life than you might realize. In fact, I'd say your circle can either lift you higher or hold you back. You see, we are creatures of influence. Whether we like it or not, we absorb the attitudes, habits, and mindsets of those around us. If you spend your time with people who are driven, positive, and focused on growth, you'll naturally adopt those qualities. But if your circle is full of negativity, excuses, or complacency, that will start to rub off on you too. I'll share a personal story. Years ago, my mentor, Mr. Schultz, said to me, "Jim, if you want to change your life, change your circle." At first, I didn't quite understand. But when I took a closer look at the people around me, I realized something. I was spending most of my time with people who were comfortable being average. They weren't bad people, but they weren't helping me grow either. Their mindset was holding me back. So I made a tough decision. I started seeking out new relationships, mentors, peers, and even acquaintances who inspired me, challenged me, and believed in my potential. It wasn't easy. Some of my old friends didn't understand why I was pulling away. But here's what I learned: if you want to grow, you can't stay in an environment that keeps you small. If you're surrounded by people who make excuses, it becomes easier for you to make excuses too. But when you're around people who push themselves to do better, it challenges you to step up. Your circle can either be your greatest support system or your biggest obstacle. Now, I'm not saying you need to cut everyone out of your life, but you do need to be intentional about the relationships you nurture. Spend more time with people who inspire you, who are striving for something greater, and who encourage you to do the same. And don't forget to give back. Be the kind of person others want to be around, someone who uplifts, encourages, and adds value to their lives. Take a moment today to evaluate your circle. Ask yourself, are the people around me helping me grow, or are they holding me back? It might not be an easy question to answer, but it's an important one. Remember, your environment shapes your destiny. Surround yourself with the right people, and you'll be amazed at how much further you can go. Eliminate distractions. How often do you find yourself saying, "I don't have enough time"? It's a common feeling, but the truth is, it's not about having more time, it's about focusing on what truly matters. The biggest obstacle isn't a lack of hours in the day, it's the distractions that steal your attention and energy. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Your phone buzzing with notifications, endless social media feeds, binge-worthy TV shows, and constant interruptions. These distractions pull you away from your goals and leave you feeling like you're always busy but never productive. If you want to achieve success, the first step is to recognize and eliminate these distractions. Early in my career, I realized I was busy all the time but wasn't making real progress. My mentor told me busy isn't the same as productive. Cut out what doesn't move you closer to your goals. That advice was a game changer. Once I identified the things that were wasting my time, I started saying no to them and yes to what mattered most. The result? More focus, more energy, and more progress. The first step to eliminating distractions is awareness. Take a closer look at how you spend your day. Are you losing hours to social media, unimportant tasks, or unnecessary commitments? Start by identifying where your time is slipping away. Then make a plan to reduce or remove those distractions. Next, create a distraction-free environment. If your phone keeps pulling your attention, put it in another room or turn off notifications. If you work best in silence, find a quiet space where you can focus without interruptions. Small changes like these can make a big difference. Another important step is learning to say no. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you're saying no to something that matters. Your time is limited, so be intentional about where you spend it. Focus on high-value tasks that bring you closer to your goals. Replace distractions with meaningful actions. Instead of spending an hour scrolling through your phone, use that time to read, plan, or work on something that aligns with your purpose. These small shifts compound over time, creating powerful momentum towards success. Distractions will always exist, but the key is learning to manage them. Take control of your focus, and you'll discover just how much time and energy you can reclaim. The more intentional you are with your attention, the closer you'll get to achieving your goals. Learn to adapt to failures. Failure is one of life's greatest teachers. Yet so many people fear it, avoid it, or let it define them. The truth is, failure isn't the end of the road, it's a stepping stone on the path to success. Every setback, every mistake, and every disappointment carries a lesson if you're willing to learn from it. Life rarely goes exactly as planned. You might set a goal, work hard for it, and still fall short. Does that mean you stop trying? Absolutely not. Success isn't about avoiding failure, it's about how you respond to it. When something doesn't go your way, you have two choices: let it defeat you or let it teach you. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is how they view failure. I remember working with a man who had started a business that failed miserably. He was devastated, ready to give up on his dream entirely. I asked him, "What did you learn?" He looked at me confused. He had been so focused on what went wrong that he hadn't stopped to think about what the experience taught him. We worked together to analyze his mistakes and turn them into lessons. A year later, he launched another business, applying what he had learned, and this time he succeeded. Failure is uncomfortable, but it's also necessary. Growth doesn't happen when everything is easy, it happens when you face challenges and figure out how to overcome them. Each failure builds resilience, sharpens your skills, and strengthens your character. In fact, some of the most successful people in history failed repeatedly before they achieved their dreams. Here's how you can start adapting to failures. First, reframe how you think about failure. Instead of seeing it as a negative outcome, view it as a learning opportunity. Ask yourself, what went wrong? What can I do differently next time? These questions turn failure into a tool for growth. Second, don't let failure define you. It's easy to take a setback personally, but remember, failing at something doesn't make you a failure. It's just one moment in your journey, not the whole story. Learn from it, adjust your approach, and move forward with even greater determination. Develop a mindset of persistence. Success rarely comes on the first try, or even the second or third. Be prepared to fail, learn, and try again. Each attempt brings you closer to your goal. The only true failure is giving up. Failure is a part of life, but it doesn't have to hold you back. Embrace it, learn from it, and let it shape you into someone stronger and wiser. With the right mindset, every failure becomes a step forward, bringing you closer to the success you're working toward. Cultivate a positive attitude. Your attitude is one of the most powerful tools you have. It shapes the way you see the world, how you respond to challenges, and ultimately the quality of your life. While you can't always control what happens to you, you can control how you react to it, and that reaction starts with your attitude. Two people can face the same situation. One sees it as an opportunity, while the other sees it as a problem. Which one do you think comes out stronger? Your attitude determines your altitude. A positive attitude doesn't guarantee success, but a negative one almost always guarantees failure. Why? Because negativity blinds you to possibilities, drains your energy, and keeps you stuck in the same patterns. Cultivating a positive attitude doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. Life has its challenges, and ignoring them won't make them go away. But it does mean choosing to focus on solutions instead of dwelling on problems. It's about finding the lesson in every setback and the silver lining in every cloud. I'll share a story. I once met a man who had faced incredible hardships. He lost his business, struggled with his health, and faced personal challenges. But every day he made it a habit to write down 3 things he was grateful for. At first, it was hard for him to find even one. But over time, his mindset shifted. He began to see the good in his life, no matter how small, and that shift gave him the strength to rebuild. How do you cultivate a positive attitude? Start by paying attention to what you feed your mind. The books you read, the conversations you have, the media you consume, all of these shape your perspective. Surround yourself with positivity, uplifting books, inspiring stories, and people who encourage you. When you feed your mind with positivity, that's what it will produce. Commit to lifelong learning. The world is constantly changing, and if you want to stay ahead, you have to keep growing. Learning doesn't stop when you graduate or finish a course. It's a lifelong process. Those who commit to learning continuously adapt to new challenges, seize opportunities, and thrive no matter what life throws at them. The skills and knowledge that got you where you are today might not be enough to take you where you want to go tomorrow. That's why it's so important to keep sharpening your mind. When you commit to lifelong learning, you're not just adding to what you know, you're expanding who you are and what you're capable of. I'll share a story. I once met a man who had built a successful career but hit a plateau. He felt stuck and couldn't figure out why. I asked him, "What are you learning right now?" He paused and said, "Well, I guess I haven't been learning much." That was the problem. He had stopped growing. When he started reading again, attending seminars, and seeking out mentors, his perspective shifted. Within a year, he was back on track, moving forward with new ideas and renewed energy. So how do you commit to lifelong learning? Start by making it a daily habit. Read a book, listen to a podcast, take a course, whatever works for you. The key is consistency. Even 15 minutes a day can make a big difference over time. Focus on areas that align with your goals, but don't forget to explore topics outside your comfort zone. Growth often happens when you challenge yourself to learn something new. Another important step is to learn from others. Surround yourself with people who are smarter, wiser, or more experienced than you. Ask questions, listen to their advice, and apply what you learn. Mentorship and collaboration are some of the most powerful ways to grow. And don't limit your learning to just professional skills. Personal growth is just as important. Learn about health, relationships, emotional intelligence, and financial literacy. The more well-rounded your knowledge, the better equipped you'll be to handle life's challenges and opportunities. Embrace curiosity. Approach life with an open mind and a willingness to ask, what can I learn from this experience, whether it's a success or a failure? Every moment has a lesson if you're willing to look for it. Committing to lifelong learning is one of the best investments you can make in yourself. It keeps your mind sharp, your skills relevant, and your confidence strong. When you learn more, you grow more. And when you grow more, you achieve more. So decide today to be a lifelong learner and watch how it transforms every area of your life. Stay humble and open to feedback. Humility is one of the most underrated keys to growth and success. It's the ability to recognize that no matter how much you've accomplished, there's always more to learn in areas where you can improve. Staying humble doesn't mean putting yourself down, it means staying grounded, open-minded, and ready to listen. Here's the reality: none of us knows everything. The moment you think you have it all figured out, you stop growing. True success comes when you're willing to admit your mistakes, accept feedback, and learn from those around you. Humility allows you to see opportunities for growth, even in criticism. I remember meeting a man who had achieved a great deal in his career. He was confident, but not arrogant, because he understood the value of staying open to new ideas. He told me, "Jim, every time I think I'm the smartest person in the room, I remind myself to start listening instead of talking." That mindset kept him growing, learning, and achieving at every stage of his life. Staying humble starts with a willingness to listen. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, not just those who agree with everything you say. Seek out mentors and peers who can offer honest feedback and fresh perspectives. Feedback might not always be easy to hear, but it's one of the most powerful tools for improvement. When someone offers you feedback, don't get defensive. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Even criticism that feels harsh can hold valuable lessons if you approach it with an open mind. And if you've made a mistake, own up to it. Admitting your mistakes doesn't make you weak, it shows strength and self-awareness. Another key to staying humble is remembering that success is a journey, not a destination. No matter how much you achieve, there will always be more to learn and new heights to reach. Humility keeps you curious and hungry for growth. It also keeps you approachable, which strengthens your relationships and opens doors to new opportunities. Be grateful for the people who help you along the way. None of us achieve success alone. Acknowledge the contributions of others, and don't be afraid to express your appreciation. Gratitude is a sign of humility, and it builds stronger connections with the people around you. Staying humble and open to feedback isn't just about improving your skills, it's about becoming the kind of person who inspires trust, respect, and collaboration. When you combine humility with a commitment to growth, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Stay grounded, stay curious, and never stop learning. That's the path to lasting success. Practice financial discipline. If there's one area in life where discipline pays off the most, literally, it's in your finances. Money isn't everything, but let's face it, financial freedom gives you choices, stability, and peace of mind. The good news is that financial success doesn't depend on how much you make, it depends on how well you manage what you have. Too often, people think financial discipline means restriction or sacrifice. But in reality, it's about creating freedom. It's about being intentional with your money so you're not constantly stressed about bills, debt, or unexpected expenses. With financial discipline, you gain control over your money instead of letting your money control you. Let me tell you about a man I once met. He earned a great salary, but was always broke by the end of the month. He couldn't figure out why. When we sat down and looked at his spending, it became clear he was living paycheck to paycheck because he wasn't budgeting. His money was going toward things that didn't align with his goals. Once he created a plan, he started saving, paying off debt, and building a better future. The first step to financial discipline is creating a budget. Know exactly where your money is going. Track your income, your expenses, and your savings. When you see the numbers in front of you, it's easier to identify where you're overspending and where you can cut back. Budgeting isn't about limiting yourself, it's about making your money work for you. Next, focus on saving. Set aside a portion of your income every month, no matter how small. This isn't just for emergencies, it's for building a foundation for your future. Whether you're saving for a home, education, or investment, small, consistent contributions add up over time. The earlier you start, the more you benefit from the power of compounding. Paying off debt is another important step. Debt can weigh you down and keep you from achieving your goals. Make a plan to pay it off systematically, starting with high-interest debts. The more you reduce your debt, the more financial freedom you'll have. And here's a key point: avoid unnecessary spending. Ask yourself, does this align with my goals? Will this bring me closer to the life I want? It's not about depriving yourself, it's about prioritizing what matters most. You don't need to keep up with others or buy things you don't need to feel successful. Think long-term. Invest in your future, whether that's through education, a retirement plan, or other opportunities to grow your wealth. Financial discipline isn't just about what you save today, it's about creating a life where money supports your dreams, not limits them. With financial discipline, you can build a life of stability, security, and opportunity. Start small, stay consistent, and watch how managing your money well transforms not just your finances, but your entire life. As we come to the end of these 10 rules, I want you to take a moment to reflect. Every single one of these principles, taking responsibility, setting goals, building discipline, surrounding yourself with the right people, and more, has the power to completely change your life. But here's the catch: none of it will work unless you work. Knowledge is useless without action. 2025 is just around the corner, and it's a fresh start. A chance to reset, rethink, and rebuild. You don't need to change everything overnight. Start small. Pick one rule, commit to it, and take that first step. Success isn't about big leaps, it's about consistent effort, day after day. Those small steps will build momentum. And before you know it, you'll look back and see how far you've come. Remember, transformation is not about perfection. It's about progress. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just keep moving forward. Failures, setbacks, and challenges will come, but they are part of the process. Use them to grow, to learn, and to strengthen your resolve. This year is yours to claim. The question is, what will you do with it? Will you let it slip by, or will you take control and make it count? The choice is yours. So stand up, take responsibility, and start creating the life you've always dreamed of. You have everything it takes inside you. Now go out there and make 2025 your year.